So Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is on the brink of their first character from the new Fighters Pass to finally be released. With that being said, that kind of brings back the speculation season, and you know, I tried doing this once before in the first Fighters Pass, and I failed miserably, other than this pick, unfortunately. And whether that's another Fire Emblem character, which, please, God, no. So I figured I should redeem myself and take another shot at this and see if I can finally be right. But I'll more than likely embarrass myself, you know, again. So like my last video, I'm not going to be predicting only 5 characters because that's just not fun, and I will definitely be wrong if I do that. So I want to expand my options to increase likelihood of not sucking bad. I'm just going to like shell out a few characters, definitely more than 5 or 6 or whatever, and I'll probably narrow it down to a few of them that I think are the most likely, and that's kind of just how it's going to be because I want to be right, and if I guess 30 characters and one of those 30 is right, I will brag to the entire internet. Get over it. I'm going to go over the characters that I predicted in my first video first, just so I can get them out of the way. And I do think that Pokemon is still a very valid choice. I think there's a chance Nintendo could go a more first-party route this time around compared to their one first-party choice from the last Fighters Pass. And Pokemon is always a good choice, especially considering that they made it very aware that there can never be too much of a franchise in one game. With the new expansion pass coming this year, there's room for more of a promotional pick here, like they always do with a lot of their characters. Any of the new characters like the Ugly Monkey one or the Legendary Mascot, none of which I know their names because I stopped paying attention to Pokemon in this new game. Any of them from that new expansion pass, like the brand new characters, I think would make a lot of sense. They could even choose a starter again, but I think that's less relevant than picking a new Pokemon. Who knows? Spyro and Crash were also a pick from the last video, and I'm still pretty confident in this one. I chose Spyro last time for personal bias, and I was pretty understanding that Crash is still the more likely, but I think it's obvious that if either of these two get picked, then it's gonna be Crash. Like last time as well, I paired them up because I think it's a retro pick, and I just don't know if they would go a whole bunch of old characters that no one really cares about anymore, but I think Crash is more likely, probably. We're going for another double header here, like Spyro and Crash. But I am going to pick another first-party character here, because I think, again, they might go more of their own original characters. And for this, the reason why I put them together is because I think it just depends on the release dates for the new games. If the new Breath of the Wild or Prime 4 come out during this Fighters Pass, then I think it could make sense for someone from whichever one of those games that comes out to be chosen. And the problem is that I just don't think that... I don't see both of these games coming out in the same time period that the Fighters Pass is coming out. Metroid Prime 4 has been delayed and delayed and delayed, and it might not come out till 2030, so that one's a tough pick. Plus, these are both very popular franchises with, let's be honest, very limited unique characters in the game. Every time I mention Paper Mario, it's usually a joke because he's my #1 pick for a wish list type of character. However, this time I'm genuinely predicting him because I do think he has a pretty good chance, especially since the new game has been received really well since it's been announced. I could go on and on and on about how much I would love seeing him in Smash, and while I know his moveset probably wouldn't line up with my personal wish of his moveset, because I'd love to forget Color Splash and Sticker Star ever happened, so I wouldn't base his moveset on those games. But realistically, they'll probably take moves from every single game just to, you know, not be biased and whatever. And if they do that regardless, I'll still love the character to death. Master Chief is the only character on this list that would fit in my big wish list kind of characters. At this point, it's tough to actually tell how reasonable it would be for him to be in the game, because on one hand, Microsoft has clearly cooperated with Nintendo in the past for characters like Banjo, and even Halo's Twitter made a joke response tweet to someone asking who they would want in Smash, and they posted a picture of Master Chief. I actually think it was Twitter. I think Twitter made an official post saying, what character do you want in Smash? And Halo's Twitter responded with a picture of Master Chief. So honestly, at this point, who knows? I think it could happen. And if it did, that'd be kind of enormous. Once again, it seems like every time there's new DLC characters coming out in Smash, Rayman seems to resurface as a rumor. And while I don't know a ton about his rumors or how truly possible he could be, I think it's pretty hard to ignore that there's always a good chance for him to make it. And I'm obviously just going to predict him for that chance, and a lot of people believe he's possible this time, so I could be missing out on a lot of information, but I do think Rayman would be a good choice, and I thought it'd be a good thing to predict, and if I get it right, then I'll be like, "Hi, look at me, I'm just a genius." Wasn't because everyone else was predicting him. Anyone remember the leaks in the first Fighters Pass when they said Devo was going to be a Smash character? Let's be honest, I don't think that's totally unreasonable. Maybe not Diva, because I think Tracer would make way more sense, but it's one of the most successful games we've really ever seen, at least in the last few years, and it's also now on the Switch. So I don't see why it wouldn't be a good choice. Personally, I would love to see an Overwatch character in the game, and I'd welcome him with open arms. But apparently a lot of people don't love the idea, and I'm not sure I totally understand that, but I'm not going to fight it if you guys don't love the characters, whatever. But this is a prediction, and it's my list. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and make the safest pick here that I think will be the most likely, and that is a Fire Emblem Lep. A Fire Emblem Lep. And that is a Fire Emblem. What the? And that. Okay. And that is a Fire Emblem rep. Haha! That joke worked.